Hi there. Welcome back to another episode of Get Gardening. I'm in my vegetable garden where there are countless number of weeds in here, but I'm also surrounded by these beautiful self-seeded larkspur. On today's episode, I'll be cutting back my beautiful Lady of Shallot rose, taking you on a tour to see the new plants in the bold garden, and potting up a beautiful hot pink bougainvillea. So join me and let's get gardening. Alright, let's take a look at this glorious Lady of Shallot rose. It really has been such a beautifully profuse blooming plant. There are still some flowers on it, but there are many spent blossoms that need to be deadheaded. Now, typically in the past, I've traced a bud back to a 5 or 7 leaf, and that's how I would prune a rose. However, when I get to a plant like this and some of my roses in the front yard, there simply are hundreds of spent blossoms, and that would take far too much time to sit back and trim each one. So I'd go ahead and I just cut them back. As long as I'm deadheading them, I think I'm doing the plant a service. You can see this plant continues to offer up new blossoms. It's a wonderful plant. If it was a hybrid tea, something that wasn't such a profuse blooming plant, I would go ahead and trim it back to a 5 leaf. Now let's take a look at the bold garden. I've been enjoying it so much to have new plants to add to the bold garden. You can see I added some purple salvia, some sweet potato vine, and there's some self-seeded fennel. Also, I started planting my canna lilies. The beautiful Phasian one is back there. I never remember if this is Phasian or Wyoming. They both have the beautiful leaves like that. I also added some new lilies, some hot yellow ones. There's even some red ones that I bought just this year. The papyra echinacea is opening that you can see. In the back I bought a new red grass. I think it'll act more like an annual. But the papaya echinacea opens that beautiful orange color and then deepens to a red. You can see I added different annuals of all different colors, some red geraniums even, threw some in. I thought they added some lush color. Nice orange of the daylily. The coleus that you see there, I kept that alive all winter long. And the banana plant is this is Musa Basju, has some new fresh leaves. I also potted up this plant in the back there, behind these cordylines. This pot I put a black and blue salvia. I wanted salvia amistad but couldn't find any. A papyrus and some purple nicotiana. The red and set banana, I've kept this one alive all winter long. It has a beautiful leaf. And here's the David Howard dahlia. And just a few more bold, bright colors. I can't wait for this garden to just continue to mature. Some of the new plants that I purchased recently are this hot pink bougainvillea vine. I also got a Meyer lemon tree to replace one that I lost a few years ago. It even has one little piece of fruit on it. I hope it ripens. And I also got a Chinese fan palm. Seeing these makes me think of a program that I saw where the great late Christopher Lloyd once said, one of the joys of gardening is going to a plant store, finding a plant and thinking, I must have that plant, and then buying it and thinking, well, where will I plant it? Well, these are going to go into the bold garden, so I'm going to make up my own soil mixture. Usually when I plant things up, I tend to like to modify the soil, so I add normal potting soil, and I always add perlite and vermiculite to it. And usually I increase the ratio of those depending on the drainage that I want. So since this is a bougainvillea, and even for the lemon plant, I think I'll add a little bit more drainage for it. Then I just mix it up like this. I have a nice terracotta pot that I'm going to put it in. I always put a crock on the bottom of the pot to cover the drainage hole. Let the drainage continue, and then I add a level of the soil mixture that I made. I added a little bit more potting soil in here as well. And here's the final product. I didn't have a trellis, so I found some old lattice and just put it in the pot with some sticks. I attached it with some twine that you can see there, just to tie it in. Eventually I'd like to get a proper trellis for this, but hopefully this will do. I'm pleased with how it looks at least. The last of the lupins are blooming. These are some red lupins that I took cuttings of last year. I'm a little sad to see them go, but I'm so happy that they've made it through the winter. And a final look at some of the plants in my walkway garden. This is the Clematis viticella, Purpurea planelegans. It's not a ton of flowers in my walkway garden at the moment, but what's here is looking nice, yellow, and vibrant. I've just been loving it. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you're able to get out there and get gardening. I'll see you next time.